to finish out the regular season. There are 6 games remaining for the Houston Astros, 3 against the Rays, 3 against the Phillies, who are setting themselves up to move up in the wildcard standings. So these next 6 games, Dusty Baker has said, are all hands on deck. I'm H-Town Wheelhouse, and join me for a solo edition of Locked on Astros. We're going to talk about the Astros giving back to Tampa and those hit most in the recent Hurricane Ian, who is still barreling down on the East Coast. And we're going to talk about Dusty Baker playing all his starters in these last 6 games. And are the Astros going to enter squad scrimmage for the week leading up to the ALDS to keep their players fresh? Stay tuned. This is Locked on Astros.
Hello and welcome to Locked on Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Heisman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chansey.
We are Locked on Houston Astros, and we're your daily Astros podcast. I'm H-Town Wheelhouse. You can find me on Twitter at H-Town Wheelhouse. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok as well. You can find the show at Locked on Astros on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Always positive, always Stros. Check us out. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and make us your first listen every single day. Thank you for tuning in. I'm going solo tonight. Next week, we'll be full bore. Eric will be with me. It will be the wrap up of the Rays series. Yes, the Rays, we are playing them once again. And so I just want to let y'all know that BetOnline is your number one source for all your football betting info this season, as well Astros playoffs. So check us out. Man, I'm so excited to be here. I'm so glad that you guys tuned in tonight. And if you're listening on a Friday, hey, what a weekend. We've got low temperatures, 59 to start your day. If you're driving into work and it's Friday morning, 59 degrees, roll those windows down, crank up Locked on Astros. Let everybody know that you're always positive, always Stros. It is going to be a fun 6 games because the Astros are at 102 wins. If they get to 108, that is a club record, and that would be great for them to go 6-0 to finish up the season. And I know I've been a little kind of back and forth. Well, I don't want them to go on a big win streak, but I don't think 6 games is too big of a win streak. How about you? I'd take 5 out of 1. I would take 5-1, but I want this to be the series where the players and the starters are playing. We'll talk about that in the second segment. Before we do that, I do want to talk about this because I think it's important. And I want y'all to know what the Houston Astros are going to be doing this weekend, and actually the remaining home games for the Houston Astros. They are going to be raising money for hurricane relief efforts across Florida, Cuba, and Puerto Rico. September 30th, which is Friday, through October 2nd, they will, during the game, all proceeds that they get from Share to Care, the 50-50 raffle, will go towards hurricane relief efforts, not only for Florida, again, for Puerto Rico and Cuba. And if you want more information on this and you're interested in donating, you can go to astros.com /relief. The Astros Foundation will be collecting donations in support of their relief efforts. Paula Harris said, "We remember how grateful we were for the support Houston received from across the country, especially from Florida during Hurricane Harvey in 2017. It is now our opportunity to step up and support them in their time of need." That is a great message. And that's why the Astros, I think, are one of the best organizations on the planet, not just because of the players that we have, not just because of the championship run that we have, but because we are about helping other people. And y'all remember what kind of community effort it was for us when Harvey hit, how painful that was for a lot of people. People lost loved ones, people lost belongings, lost their lives. And when you just watch even 5 minutes of the devastation in Florida and then see that Ian has moved out back over the water and is going to strengthen back into a hurricane, you just pray for all those people that are in the storm's path. So our thoughts and our prayers are with every one of y'all who listen to us from Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, all those along the East Coast. Anybody who's affected by the storm, just know that we're with you in spirit, and we hope that everything goes well. I know when I'm at the game on Sunday, I'm going to be donating to the Care to Share program. I'm going to be giving money there. And if there's any other efforts that comes up on Sunday, we'll let you know. So stay tuned to the Locked On Astros. We're your team every single day. So let's talk about something. There are a couple of awards I want to talk about, but Justin Verlander, MVP talk, but Dusty Baker came out and said, "Hey, these last 6 games are all hands on deck. My starters are not going to be benched. There's no rest days." And I think because they're going to have the long layoff, they want to get the guys fine tuned. They want to get them amped up. But I'm wondering though, like, is there any harm in playing someone like an Alvarez or someone like that every single game these next 6 games? I don't know. I've always been the guy who basically says play them all, play them as much as you can, and don't think about injuries, because when you start thinking about injuries, it gets in your head, and that's when I think players get hurt. But I love this all hands on deck method. I love that Dusty Baker is thinking about getting these wins. And this team has done some pretty darn historic things. And listen to this right here. The 100 Club, by reaching 100 wins this season, Elias, who gives the Astros their sports information at times, says the Astros are the first club in American League history to reach 100 victories 4 times in a span of 5 full seasons. That's right. Additionally, Dusty Baker has now become just the 4th manager in MLB history to win 100 games in both leagues, joining Sparky Anderson, Whitey Herzog, and Tony La Russa. That's an amazing feat. That is pretty awesome. I really love that Dusty Baker has brought success to this team. And I know a lot of people say, well, anybody can win with this team. Yeah, I guess. But there were a lot of people saying there's not really any 100 win teams in this full season. And the Astros, they may get to 97 wins. Now they're at 102. It does stink that they lost to the Rays, to the Diamondbacks. But Justin Verlander continues to throw gas. He continues on his like just Cy Young-esque streak, and I absolutely love what Justin Verlander is doing on the season. He continues to make a name for himself. His season this year, I mean, he's at a 1.80 ERA. If he gives up 0 runs on his next start, he will have a 1.78 ERA, and I believe that will eclipse Pedro Martinez. That's rarefied air. That is not company that you find. But Justin Verlander has just been absolutely stellar. And this is what he said. The second I'm done with that, basically he says, after his final start of the regular season, which will come next week in Houston against the Phillies, Verlander said he'll turn his attention to the postseason. The second I'm done with that, it's how do I feel, and is that where I'm going to go? Is that where I'm going to be going into the playoffs? I'm very happy. Obviously, I worked extremely hard to be here, and it's nice to put up the regular season numbers. I do appreciate it. This was in an article that Brian McTaggart put up talking about adding to his Cy Young resume. Go check out his articles. Go check out his tweets. He's a great Twitter follower. He does a weekly newsletter. He's a great follow. But he showed his fastest pitches on the night, and his final one was to strike out Pavin Smith, 97.1, 96.9, 96.7, 96.6, 96.6. Justin Verlander has done it all. And, I understand you say, I'd rather have all hands on deck for the playoffs, see what sticks. I get that. But Jake Myers was recalled, and we're going to talk about that here in a second. So all hands on deck. Dusty Baker says we are going all in. We've talked about this week Jeremy Pena hitting his 20th home run. We've also talked about Jose Altuve and what he's done. He tied a record for leadoff home runs with his 12th leadoff home run recently. Can he get to 13? If he does, that's an all-time Astros record. David Hensley, I would like to see him get more in these last 6 games, but if he's saying it's all hands on deck and the starters are going to start, that doesn't sound to me like Hensley's going to get a lot of playing time. But then again, I don't have the playbook and I don't know exactly what's going on. But something I do know is that it's football season, and betonline.net is your number one source for all your football betting needs. That's right. You need to check out BetOnline and see what they have for you. If you are into sports betting, you need to go here. Whether it's NFL regular season, MLB playoffs, they're always the most live, up to date, up to minute scores for every sport. They have MMA, boxing, golf, MLB, your favorite games and events. So head to betonline.net or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, it's where the game starts. So let's talk about going into this series with the Rays. I think the Rays, I know we're not going to see Verlander there. We're going to see Verlander against the Phillies. The Rays is a team, I don't know about y'all, but they're the team I want to face between the Rays and the Blue Jays. I just don't want to face the Blue Jays. I want to see your comments on here and I'll read them. I want to see your comments on what you think. Blue Jays or Rays? Who do you want to see in there in that ALDS? And my sleeper pick, my sleeper scary pick are the Cleveland Guardians, not to win it all, but for them to sneak up on their competition. I just think that the Guardians may give the Mariners a fit or two. Someone's asking who is pitching tomorrow, or if you're listening on Friday, Framber Valdez is going on Friday night. You have Christian Javier going on Saturday. Then you have Luis Garcia on Sunday, and obviously to be for the next series. So again, Sunday is Luis Garcia, Christian Javier Saturday, and Framber Valdez on Friday night. Framber Valdez 16-5 has a chance to get to 17-5. And if Framber Valdez doesn't miss that start, okay, they're saying the Rays. Definitely saying the Rays here. I agree with that. I would much rather face the Rays. If I'm being 100% honest, I would much rather face the Tampa Bay Rays in this first playoff series. But the Houston Astros have a really solid lineup going pitching wise. You just wonder, is it going to be Mancini DH, Yuli Gurriel first base, Yordan Alvarez left field, Chas McCormick center field, Kyle Tucker right field, catching Christian Vasquez? I want to know how many starts Vasquez is going to get versus how many starts Maldonado is going to get. Because to me, if I want Vasquez to be super useful in the playoffs, I've got to give him 3 or 4 starts out of the 6. I would like to know what you guys think. And yes, to go back to my question, Toronto has a potent offense. They also, I think, have better pitching. I think the Rays pitching doesn't set up well for them against the Houston Astros in the playoffs. I think the Astros match up to them far better. And let's just face it, as long as Jose Altuve is leading off, as long as Alvarez is in there getting hits, making contact, Kyle Tucker, Alex Bregman, Jeremy Pena laying off the breaking pitches and hitting well, then we can see and we will see what this offense can do. I just really am excited about these next few games. And here's the thing, since we're talking about games, since we're talking about the playoffs, let me just tell you, Simple Seats is the place for Houston sports fans to buy tickets at the lowest possible price. Yes, that includes playoff tickets. Other ticketing sites will surprise you at checkout with 20% fees or more. Simple Seats doesn't charge any fees at all, which saves you money. You can get more tickets to more games. You can go to ALDS home game 1 and 2, and then maybe buy game 5 when that comes up, but hopefully you won't have to. You buy game 1 and 2, then go to the ALCS. At Simple Seats, they want fans to save money. There's no convenience fees. I've been using them since 2021, and I love this site. It's not just Astros, though. It's Texans, Dynamo, A&M, UT, U of H, and more teams are there. They also have this really cool thing called zone seating, where they give you a price that's cheaper than the listed price, and they pick the seat for you. It's very simple. It's a very simple website to navigate on your phone or on your computer. Ditch the ticket fees. Check out simpleseats.com. The next time you're looking to go to a Houston sports event or even any other event in the area, use code LOCKEDON10 to save $10 off your first purchase of $50 or more. Simple Seats, better prices, no fees. It's that simple. So I really love the Astros' chances in the playoffs. The Astros, we have got to remember this. They have more playoff pedigree. They have more playoff experience than any of the teams. Like, you could probably take 3 or 4 teams, combine them, and they wouldn't even come close to the playoff experience that this Astros team has. And we are trying to win a championship. Yes, we are. And I think that was in relation to me talking about Yuli, but I think he's talking about starters. Maybe they put Yuli at DH. I don't know. My question is, when Verlander pitches, is Dubon going to get center field? Is Dubon going to make this playoff roster? You know, we talk about moves. We've got to talk about this move. It was just released. Came out at 3:19 today. The Astros have recalled Jake Myers from AAA Sugarland. James Click announced Yanir Diaz was optioned to AAA and then placed on the taxi squad. Interesting move for the major league team. Myers, since being optioned down to Sugarland on August 30th, has hit .337, going 31 for 92. That's not a bad sample size in 24 games. He has 5 doubles, 4 home runs, and 14 RBI, 19 walks. In addition to his .337 average, he's posted a .451 on-base percentage, a .544 slugging percentage, and a .994 OPS. More recently, he went 13 for 26, hitting .500 over the last 7 games with 3 homers, 6 RBI, and 8 walks, .618 on-base percentage, and .885 slugging. Prior to that, he was hitting .209 in 47 games for the Astros. He had only 1 home run and 14 RBI. Diaz only appeared in 6 games. He was non-essential, it seemed like. Dubon does lack a bat. His defense is good. Look, I think his defense is decent. His defense isn't Jose Siri. And I know, like, we let Jose Siri go, and dude, he's out there. He's balling for the Rays. So we may face Jose Siri, former Astro with the Rays. We may face former Astro Teoscar Hernandez and George Springer with the Blue Jays. There's a lot of former Astros that are out there. I do believe that Myers needed a confidence builder. Again, I don't know where Myers is as a major leaguer. There's not a big enough sample size. I don't believe he's the superstar on fire player that he was when he first came up, but I don't believe he's the bottom of the line 207 guy. I think he's somewhere in the middle. And if you're somewhere in the middle of just amazingly great and way below average, and you go to the middle, you're talking about a 260, 270 hitter for a career. You're talking about a guy that can pump out 15 to 20 home runs in a season. And if he can get his confidence back in the field, he can get the strength back in his shoulder, maybe he's ready. But I don't think the Astros are going to hamstring themselves with a pride move or an issue of, well, we just believe in this guy, so he's going to play. He's going to be there because he's played in the playoffs. He's going to be there because he's been there for a full major league season for the most part. Well, not a full one, but you get my drift. I honestly, what do y'all think? Myers or Dubon? If I said you have to choose right now, Jake Myers or Mauricio Dubon, who are you going with? Who are you guys going with? Yeah. So Daniel Mason mentions, I don't think Dusty will use Vasquez that much. I don't know. I'm just saying, if it were me, I'm playing Vasquez at least 3 of the 6 games. Start Vasquez one series, start Maldonado the other series. I know he's not going to do that because Maldonado catches Valdez. But what do you think? Jake Myers, I know you don't want either, but if you got to pick out of Jake Myers and Mauricio Dubon, who are you going to go with? It is a tough one. Dubon, I think, has better plate discipline. But if Jake Myers can get hot, and if Jake Myers can hit for power, and if Jake Myers' arm strength is back, and if he's not tentative running down the ball, then I don't see why you wouldn't because of his history with this club. There are some tough calls to make with the Astros this season. Yes, you know what? I think we all miss Siri a little bit just because he had so much to give. He had so many tools. He just couldn't put the bat on the ball. I promise you, if Siri could have hit the ball at a decent clip, like he did when he went back down to Sugarland, there's no way the Astros would have put him in that trade. I really think they would have kept him because his glove is always played out very, very well. A little side note, uh, Drew Gilbert visited Minute Maid Park this past week, and he was made available to the media. He played 10 games for the Astros minor leagues, this season before sustaining a dislocated right elbow. He's expected to be fully recovered prior to the start of the 2023 spring training camp. So hopefully we get to hear more good news about that. Some other just tidbits here. The Astros are just 3 wins shy of reaching 1,000 wins at Minute Maid Park during the regular season. During the regular season, the Astros are 997 and 800 all time at the venue. So, hey, we've got some milestones going on. Jose Altuve is trying to finish the season with an average of 300 and an OPS of 900. It is, and you're right, it is, Rich. It is time for Myers to prove himself. Jose Altuve ranks in the American League in these categories. With 100 runs, he's second. He has a 919 OPS. He's third behind Judge and Alvarez. Outstanding. 531 slugging, fourth. 387 on base percentage, fourth. 65 walks, that's 10th. 298 average, I think it's 297 now, 10th. 28 home runs, 11th. 35 doubles, 12th. He has a 158 OPS plus and a 162 WRC plus. In 2017, when he finished the season with a 160 OPS plus and a 160 WRC plus. He sees more pitches at the plate per plate appearance this season than any other year in his major league career. And for the first time, he has a walk rate over 10%. Jose Altuve has become a better hitter. Justin Verlander has become a better pitcher. Kyle Tucker has begun to hit better. Alex Bregman's turned it around. Yordan Alvarez is out of his funk and hitting the ball really well now. I mean, what other proof do we need? And we can talk about Yuli. We can talk about Maldonado. We can talk about the bats that aren't there. But when Martin Maldonado hits a home run, the Astros win. So there's my justification for playing Martin Maldonado. You just have to put him in there and have to make sure he gets a meat pitch, and they'll win the game. They're 17-0 when he homers. Why is Will Smith not pitching good? Because Will Smith has not been good most of the season. He hasn't given up a ton of runs, and I believe he's only gone to 2 pitches. He's just not been great this year. That's just the bottom line. He just has not been great. So let's look at this preview. We're playing against Rasmussen, who is on the mound, 10-7, and Framber Valdez is again 16-5. The Astros have quite a bit of success against him. Well, a few of them do. Altuve and Bregman both over 400. Mancini and Vasquez 286 to 250. And so we have some decent output. Jose Altuve has a home run against them. I would love Jose Altuve to break the club single season leadoff record with 13. I really would love to do that. Yes, Yordan Alvarez is 2 home runs away from 100 for his career. He has 98. It's pretty astounding where he's at. This guy just keeps hitting, just keeps mashing. I just need him to stay safe. And okay, I want to talk about this before we wrap things up tonight. The Astros have a week off, and there was a hot mic video that they shared on Twitter. If you're on Twitter, you would have seen it, where I believe Framber Valdez or Hector Neris, one of the pitchers is talking to Altuve. They're all talking in Spanish. I have not heard about Jordan's injury. I haven't heard an update or that it's anything major. So no news is good news right now, Guy. If I find something out, I can always tweet about it or mention it somehow. Reach out to me on social media. But and I completely forgot the point I was making. I do this in real life where I'm making a point and then I get distracted and then I completely forget that point. So with with that being said, the Houston Astros have their work cut out for them in these next 6 games. The Rays for 3, the Phillies for 3. Let's get these next 6 games. Let's win them all. Let's crush their souls. Yes, this is a hot mic moment. Exactly. Very hot mic moment. I try to be on my P's and Q's. I try to stay focused, but sometimes it's very difficult, especially, and this is the power of Eric and I being together, because both of us can focus on the conversation. And then if one of us is talking, the other can check out and look at your comments. So I apologize if your comments have not been flying up to the screen. There's quite a bit going on. Oh, I know what I was going to talk about. Here we go. The thought came back to me. Thank you, thought gods. The inter squad scrimmage, the Spanish, they were speaking Spanish. I can't remember if it was Valdez or if it was Neris, told Altuve, when we play each other in our inter squad scrimmage, I'm going to strike you out. I believe they're going to have an inter squad scrimmages, minorly simulated games the week before the ALDS, so they're fresh. And I think that's going to be important to keep their minds in tune so they don't sit around doing nothing, to keep their swing on tact. They'll keep their routines as pitchers. And so we will see what those inter squad, well, you'll be cool is if they open up the stadium to the inter squad pre-playoff scrimmage. I know they're not going to do that, but that would be a really cool thing. I would go watch it. So I just think that you're going to go into the playoffs where this team is going to be prepared. Even with the week off, I don't think it hurts this team. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 7 starters. And that's not even talking about Hunter Brown. We are having discussions and arguments over who our 4th starter is going to be. Will we even need a 4th starter in the ALDS? And if someone's left off the ALDS roster, will they get added to the ALCS roster? We have a great problem to have, and that's we have a plethora of talent. We have a wealth of talent, and it's going to bode well for us when we get into the playoffs. Here's the thing. Myself and Eric, we're going to be at game 1 of the LDS. We're going to be at game 2. If it's necessary, which I hope it's not, we will be at game 3. So we'll be at all 3 games of the ALDS. If you're there, hit us up on Twitter. Let us know you're there. We'd love to meet up with you in the 5th inning. Say hi, get some cool playoff pictures, and just know that we're your team every day. Please check us out on Apple, on Google, on Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. And we want you to make sure that you check out Locked On MLB. Thanks for making Locked On Astros your first listen today. Now make your second listen Locked On MLB podcast, where MLB expert Paul Francis Sullivan brings humor, passion, and unique perspective on every team, the biggest stories around the league. Follow the #1 daily league-wide podcast, Locked On MLB, on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcast. So, ladies and gentlemen, that pretty much wraps it up for me tonight. Thank y'all so much. We are excited about these final 6 games, and I believe that this team in this playoff run is going to be the most exciting playoff run that you'll have seen in your Astros fandom life. Mark my words. I'm not predicting anything, but I like our chances. I think the Astros have the numbers, and I think they have the reinforcements that no matter what happens, the Houston Astros will find a way to come out on top. So for myself, for Eric the Man Heisman, and for all of us at Locked On Astros Nation, and those of y'all that are listening in the East, in Florida, please know that our thoughts and prayers are with you. Stay safe, and as always, go Stros.